Welcome back to this week's video. Things are starting to get a little sketchy with the camper, so I thought, why not turn the camera on, bring you along for this ride. Check this out. We'll get to that in a minute. You remember last week we were on that forest road that was pretty sketchy? Well, the camper jumped up in the air and it's sitting on the umbilical cord. If I don't take care of that real soon, them wires are going to short out. That's going to be a problem. When I went to jack up the camper, none of my jacks are working. They're all froze up. Rusted, the screw jack inside, completely rusted. It won't work manually or with the electric motors. I get to a certain point and it just jams up. The electric motors still spin, which is good. There's a screw jack inside here, and I'm thinking that since the camper really hasn't been out of the truck in the last 4 years and I don't use the jacks that often, water, who knows what else has gotten in there, rusted up those screw jacks. So I'm gonna have to pull these off, replace them or rebuild them. To replace them, it's gonna be almost $4,000. I only paid $6,000 for the camper, so that's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna pull them off, see if I can't rebuild them. But in the meantime, I still need to get that cable out from underneath the camper, because if we start driving down the road, that cable is going to get squished and possibly short out, and then I won't have any taillights. So if we're going to get out west, we got to get some of these projects done. A high lift jack would be ideal in this situation, but I don't have one of those. What I do have is a couple of chunks of 4x4 and some brake rotors. That's going to get me the height I need to lift up the camper. Once these have all been disconnected, we can start jacking it up. Well, we got it, and it crushed it pretty good. The wires still look okay. And next, I'm gonna pull all these jacks off. We disconnect the electrical and it should lift right off. Not too bad. Now I just got to get the other three. So here's what I'm finding out. The camper looks so much better when the jacks ain't on. Let me show you the other side. I will fix them and get them put back on, but for now we're going to run it like this. Next up, I'm going to take a look at the slide. There's just a little bit of a gap between the slide wall and the camper when it's all the way closed. So we're going to see if we can't figure that out. Now that gap is probably an inch or more up there. See if we can close that up. I looked online and in the manual. I didn't see any adjustments for this slide, so I'm just going to do what makes sense to me. I've got a jack under it to hold it up. Those bolts right there on the rail. I'm going to loosen up those guys. Hopefully that'll bring that top in. We'll find out. Well, that nut is stripped. They might have been working on this already at one point. Oh, there is no room in here to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the torch to melt the nylon washer out of that nut. And then I'm going to pound a 12 millimeter 12-point socket on there. It'll come off. Hopefully I don't burn this camper down. Oh, I got it. Perfect. Well, let's drop this jack down and see what happens. Well, I hope that gap is closing up out there. You'll have to tell me when it's closed. Well, now it looks like it's where it's supposed to be. We'll get these tightened up, see if it works. Looks good. Bring it all the way back in. That looks perfect. You might remember a few weeks back, I ended up snapping the lug nut on my truck. Not the wheel stud, but the actual flights on the lug nut snapped off. So here are my lug nuts, and there's the stud. What happened is, when I was removing the lug nuts to do a rotate and balance, this here snapped. So this acorn part is still held in the rim. I think what I'm gonna have to do is take a drill bit, drill right in the center of the wheel stud. I mean, it's gotta be perfect all the way through. I'll just have to keep increasing the drill bit larger and larger until I can drill out the threads on the wheel stud. It took me 14 drill bits in about 6 hours, but I finally got the wheel off. Let's go get a rotate and balance done. Now that we got the truck washed, I can check all the seals. I got fresh oil all the way around. Then we got a project in the back seat. I'm gonna try and make a little bit more storage. We gotta get home, so we got a lot of work to do. She's a little warm. It's always a good idea to pull the magnet off underneath the transmission filter and clean it off. Just make sure you don't drop it. It'll break into about 7 pieces. Been there, done that. I think it's a little over 2 quarts in the rear diff. This stuff always stinks so bad. Well, there's a little bit of goop on the magnet. I don't know, Toby, what do you think? Is that more than usual? Or something we need to be concerned with? You're not concerned? Good. And this front dish should be a little under 2 quarts. That still looks brand new. Not much shavings on that plug. We got 10 quarts of oil, 8 quarts of transmission fluid. There's something relaxing about doing all this stuff on your own truck. Pesky mosquitoes have finally found me. I think we might get to that backseat storage project tomorrow. I'm getting eaten alive. I've not done any modifications to the back of this truck in probably 6 years. That was well before I started the channel. Back then, I would go to work, and then on the weekends, I'd get out in the camper just like I do right now. The only difference is I don't have the cameras. Back then I had less equipment too, basically the e-bike, and I would just set it on this table right here, some tools, just the basic things needed. Now the stuff needed is kind of grown a little bit. Back then I had this seat in here because I thought, well, if I needed to give the kids a ride, I'd want 3 seats, but no one has ever sat back here. The kids ain't in the house anymore, and I don't know 3 people. So we're going to take this out. Hopefully I can fit the e-bike folding kayak in this portion right here. We're going to leave this over here for Toby. I've got a storage tote under this. We're going to have to pull all of it out. And I'm going to put a sliding shelf over there. That'll hold what we got. That side is full, but I have no idea what's in there. I put it in there 6 years ago and I can't get to it, so it just stays full. Here's the deal. I put way too much money into oil and filters yesterday, over 300 bucks. So this has got to be cheap, quick, and easy. And the truth is, I'm not a carpenter. Now, I've built enough fish houses and deer stands in my day to know my way around a 2x4 and a deck screw. So that's how we're going to build this. When we're all done, we'll wrap it in this oil mat. It'll look good as new. I got to pull this seat out first. Four more to go. Well, that wasn't that hard at all. I think I'm going to pull this tray out for the jack and then the seat belts, and then we'll see if that e-bike fits back here. Oh, plus that tote. Back before I had this truck, I was running this camper in a 3/4 ton. It was like a 2009 Silverado, and I had a lot of the same suspension upgrades that I have in this truck, had in that truck, and it handled it okay. The only reason I got rid of it is because the drone inside the cab was absolutely horrendous. Mandy and I went out to Wyoming. We went into the Bighorn Mountains. I believe that's where we were. She said after that trip that she wouldn't go out camping with me again on that far of a road trip just because it was so horrible. She got a bad headache from it. So I was at the dealership and I saw this truck. At the time, they were asking $29,000 for it. It was 3 years old, had 90,000 miles. They gave me a really good deal on trade for that 3/4 ton. And I picked this up, and I'm really happy that I have. And I've put about 120,000 miles on it now. Really pretty much problem free for the most part. I mean, glow plugs. I do have a turbo issue going on right now, but we're pretending that's not an issue, and that way the truck just forgets about it. So now I'm sure that some of you are going to be able to relate to this, but back before I started the channel, Mandy and I would go on what we call date nights. And a lot of times when we go on date nights, it was going to the RV dealership to walk through the campers, or going to the car dealership to look at vehicles. And that's how I ended up finding this truck, is we were on a date night. I knew there'd be stuff under there. How many times have people told me that I need to wear ice cleats? There's a brand new pair. We've got one umbrella, 2 umbrellas, multiple pairs of gloves. This is back when I was working at the sugar beet harvest. Tire patch kit, another tire patch kit, some worms. Wow. We'll get this tray unbolted and pulled out. Date nights at the RV dealership, it wasn't that strange for Mandy and me. It was one of those things. You'd go to Applebee's, have a steak and potatoes, and then you'd go to the RV dealership to have a walk around. Unfortunately, they gated it off not that long ago, but you can't just go walk through it like you could anymore. But camping for me has kind of always been in my blood. This is probably my 5th or 6th truck camper. I've owned a few towables and a pop-up, but I've always enjoyed it. Back in the 80s, my dad had truck campers, and I'd have friends come spend the night from school. We go play in the truck camper. It was always a fort. Same with my brother and sister. We were constantly in the truck camper. So one day Mandy said to me, she was like, why don't you start up a YouTube channel? She says, you're always watching Taylor Desmond. Why don't you start up a YouTube channel? And then I can follow along with you when you're gone on the weekends, because Mandy always works weekends and I'd have weekends off. That's kind of how it all started. It's crazy how many people now come along with me. And then Toby joined with, and he's pretty much taken control of the whole show. Let's get that bench put in here, and we're going to see if that e-bike fits. I'm almost thinking one of those electric scooters might work a little bit better. I put a lot of miles on this bike. It's not the lightest thing, but it's not the heaviest either. But a scooter would fit so much better. Actually, I am going to have a lot more room back here. The bike would never sit like this before. We've got this hook right here. It's a child safety restraint. I wonder if I can hook it to the bike. Great. Now the kayak might fit up front. So I think I figured I need a ratchet strap instead of that other hook. Let's see if we can fit the kayak in there now. Look at that. Perfect. Now I can pull it all back out, start building those shelves. Mint. I'm kind of digging this. I've got straight through storage, both sides. We have that drawer, plenty of room for the kayak and e-bike now. That's awesome. Another thing I'd like to do is put a shelf up high, but I need to make sure that Toby can still get in and out. Looks like if I went 8 inches, it'd be almost level with the headrest. Let's see what happens when Toby tries to jump in. Come on up. Oh yeah, he's got that easy. Good boy. Come on. That's gonna fit like a glove. Perfect. Now I can pull it all back out, wrap it up, and put it back together. It's looking like I might not have enough fabric to complete the job. We'll get close. Close enough. See if I can remember how this goes in now. Kind of looks like a giant cat tree in here. I'm thinking it'll hold at least 100 pounds. I'll get it all loaded up and show you what it looks like. I am a little surprised. Putting in that slide drawer, the overhead cubby, rearranging the space inside here made a big difference. I was able to fit Toby's chair back here, the kayak, the e-bike, the seat, the battery, paddles. This space turned out really, really nice. What do you think, Toby? We do a good job? I think so too. Down below, we still got the chainsaw over here. We got a couple of hammocks and our fishing equipment in the slide. I've got all of the stuff I had in the old storage compartment, plus room to spare. I'm really surprised at how much room that overhead space is and how much stuff I got up in there. The folding table, cooking stone, life jacket, folding chair, the lights I use for recording, campfire irons, and my toolkit. The shelf's being supported by these three corners, and I didn't want to put a pole right here, so I used the chain. That's gonna hold. You want to see how you fit back there? Come on, let's get up. Good boy. Good news is, Toby has more room now than when we first started. That was like the main thing. I still have the inverter on the wall, the Milwaukee charger. We've got our smokeless fire pit back here yet, and also the Dutch oven. And I think that's all that I'm going to be storing back in this section. Do you like it, buddy? Come on. I still have a ton of work to do on the camper. I got to go through, check all of my seals, and I know some of them are bad. The bottom backside of the camper, it's been kicking up a lot of dirt and rocks, so there's a portion that's rotting away. We need to figure that out. There's a lot of delamination going on this camper, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to fix that, but I'll definitely try and stop it and slow it down as much as I can. I also got to grind down these jack brackets and hit them with a little bit of paint, but maybe we'll leave that for another video. You've been hanging out with me and Toby for the last 3 days, and I think that's just about long enough. This video is going to be dropping in a couple hours. It's Tuesday afternoon already. We'll do this again next week. Until then, be kind, be honest, and we'll see you down the road.